Here's the thing. When we're talking about luck, labor under correct knowledge, back in the old days, yes, a lot of people went to college because there's a lot of courses on it. And then after a while, when the digital era started to kick in, those courses were few and few. There's still RIT, Rochester Institute of Technology. Daytona is another one. Ringling, which is here in town. So there's a few that they actually have. And if people want to pursue that career, they can go that route. Or another option is laboring under correct knowledge, L.U.C.K, finding the luck. So learning under correct knowledge, and most photographers' learning path, and I'm sure both of us went through this. You start out with the YouTube first. You go onto the Facebook groups and you pick up as much as you can. People are out there sharing their knowledge back and forth. But what that does for you is the next one. It introduces you to camera clubs. And you go out and you start to talk to other people in camera clubs. And you start to understand more and more about photography, but you're still not there yet.
And that camera clubs, they were big in my story.
And we got to get the camera clubs back on track.
Seeing people seeing photographers in person. So you have people to help you in person.
And then now what ends up happening is you end up on paid sites. And the paid sites, you have Kelby One, LinkedIn, and there's a few others, but Kelby One, back then it was the National Association of Photoshop Professionals, right now. And you start taking classes with Kelby One, and now all of a sudden you're introduced to all these incredible photographers that are out there. In fact, you have a class on Kelby One.
Yes.
Right?
About selling prints.
Yep. And so that's how I learned about you, was through Scott, because of this. Well, now what just happened is now you're opening up your range of talented people that are out there in this world. And you start taking the classes on Kelby One, and you start to say, oh, wow, this is really cool. I love it. But you're missing something. And that's where you come in and you start taking like the one-day seminars. And a lot of those instructors that are on the Kelby classes or on different platforms, you start to build a bond with them. And you're like,
connect with them.
Right? And and that's where you start taking maybe their one-day course or their two-day course. But keep in mind, how are you, like with all your knowledge on printing and fine art sales, how can somebody get that in one day? Right?
Oh, you have to go someplace where there's a class. You can't just get that online because it's all over the place. You want someone who's experienced in the topic to get you there faster.
And that's where that learning under correct knowledge. So now you're excited. You learn, you start following these instructors, and you pick up things from them over and over and over again. Then you end up taking the 1 or 2 day workshops with them, but you end up joining organizations like PPA or ASMP or SPE. And in a moment, we're going to have Dixie Dixon on, which wait till you hear, she's just so motivational. And she'll tell you the best advice one of her instructors gave her was to join all the organizations for networking.
Connecting with people, connecting with other photographers is so important in your learning experience and in your career. Like, you need it in all points of your career from beginning to pro, right? Connecting with others.
And then you're about to graduate into the larger events. That's the WPPI, Imaging USA, Texas School. Well, now you go to these huge conferences, but keep in mind, these huge conferences are just that. They're huge conferences. The goal of the instructors on stage is to teach to the masses. So they look at somebody who's just starting out, somebody who's a pro, and they try to condense their material. Into that. Don't think back when you go teaching at a lot of events, you may have somebody who's brand new to fine art printing, and then you have somebody who is extremely experienced. So you have to kind of like balance the two.
It's exactly, because you have to keep in mind everyone's at a different point in their learning experience. So that is something I dealt with a lot when I was an art teacher in the past. Is being able to connect with the students where they are. So yeah, definitely.
Exactly. And now you graduate. So people that start doing all these things, you start to network and you realize, wow, there's a lot of talented photographers out there. And what they're doing now, in this case, what Scott is doing in Greece.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he has 12 people. They can only take a small group. That's where these photo tours come in.
Yeah.
And the photo tours are huge.
And you get more individual attention. Like it's a great opportunity for learning.
Yeah. So what you just did was you went from the YouTube experience to where you're just watching something on your computer. Now you're actually sitting with those instructors
In person.
Exactly, and you get to ask
At an
them
amazing location.
any
Like,
questions
can't
you
beat it.
want whatsoever. They do the photo adventures tour. But think about this. You decide with all this knowledge out there, what do you want? Now, Scott's been doing, oh my God, Greece. He did Tuscany. He did all these
Budapest.
incredible places. And everyone that comes back to these events come back and their photography literally just leaps started.
Yes.
They understand that they're not going to make the same mistakes as most people would if they start to learn on this stuff on their own. And you do these smaller boutique conferences, like Roberto Venezuela just did the Photos Creator Conference. And it was absolutely amazing. He took a small group of people, same concept, and we just were immersed at a location for like 4 days. And all we did was sleep, eat, breathe, photography when you're ready for it at that point. Now, I'm sure you'd agree, if you're a new photographer just starting out, you spend all this money on your camera gear, you're trying to use it. If you try to jump into, one of those boutique type education conferences, you're going to be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
You're going to get to the point where you're like, oh God. If you don't know about f-stops, shutter, your ISO, and you're trying to learn in this beautiful location like Scott is in Greece, you're going to get discouraged.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So you run the course, and what ends up happening is right there. Those are the mentorship is the final button. And I think you did that with Serge.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You had him as your mentor.
Yes.
You're ready for it at that point. As educators, my recommendation: start small, get really good with what you're doing, and then once you feel, you know what, I do know the basics. These are the steps you could take to find what you're looking for.
You know when you're ready. And what's so nice about a lot of these different options is you can connect with other photographers in person and then develop friendships and a support system and other mentors, right? So
And that's the key. Well,
and it's life enriching. It's not just about photography, it's life enriching.